everyone. Thank you, Financial Express, for having us here. Must have done some great things in life to moderate such an esteemed panel. By no means am an expert on data security, data privacy, but what I know is that as a country, everybody is talking about Digital Bharat. We are at a very unique inflection point. If we ride this wave correctly in the next 18 to 24 months, and I think that's the window of opportunity that we have from a tech perspective, macroeconomic perspective, we'll probably be on a speed train towards the goal of achieving a Viksit Bharat by 2047. But if we get caught in the challenges of privacy, security, cross-border laws, etc., I think we'll probably miss the bus and be also one of the contenders that ran towards leading the digital economy globally. I think there is a very vacant space there on who's a clear winner today and who will lead the entire world into the next 10, 15 years. With that, let's go to the opening comments from my esteemed panelists. Anand, maybe we can start with you.
Hi. Good afternoon, everybody. Just before the lunch, probably the panel. So, see, I think data is the new currency. It's a fact. We all are. I mean, in the today's world, how data has simplified our lives. I mean, I give an example, couple of things. I mean, Digi Yatra. I mean, when you go to airport, I mean, look at how easy it has become. And I recently visited Mumbai. I mean, one of the things I used to scare about when I used to travel is that check in my baggage, because you have to stand a huge line to check in the baggage. And recently when I went to Mumbai airport, so I said I have to drop it. So there was an automated which is there for the baggage drop also. And it was all because with the biometrics Aadhaar enabled Digi, because I did a Digi Yatra, I printed the baggage tag, I put it in a luggage and it just scanned, it just went zoop. I said, wow, that is the power of data. I mean, the UPI, I mean, I don't think there would be anybody sitting in this room who is not a user of UPI. I mean, it is such a massive tool which is now being replicated across the globe. Again, a power of data. Now, Aadhaar, I mean, again, a power of data. But with this, I think coming back onto an important topic of privacy and security also, I think while the data is critical, it is available, it is being used, but I think from a privacy perspective, while government has come up with the laws, DPDP Act, which is going to get enacted now, somewhere we as a citizen also need to play an important role in terms of understanding the importance of privacy, importance of our own data, our own personal identity. I mean, if today outside this hotel itself we could say that you give me a copy of Aadhaar and I'll give 50 rupees, there would be a huge line outside this thing. So I think that no government can do anything on that. So I think there is a lot of awareness, there's a lot that we ourselves also need to do from the perspective to be aware of that, how critical is my data to myself, I need to protect my identity. That is one thing. Now, organizations need to do their own bit of thing by having the data security things in place. They also need to have, now with the data privacy law coming up, we'll have the consent thing which is coming up, that I have a right and I need to know that for what purpose my data is being collected and for how long my data is to be collected. But again, coming back to the same original question, I mean, if we are so careless, I'm sorry to use this word, about our own data, that for few rupees we just are willing, no security, no act will be able to safeguard us. I think that is what is my opening thing.
I think excellent talking points. We all know what the digital payment infrastructure in India has done to us, right? Digi Yatra, I think probably in Delhi, at least T3, you can reach a boarding gate within 10 minutes of reaching the airport today.
Absolutely.
Right? But with great power comes great responsibility, and excellent points made on the entire awareness piece, right? It is very easy for us to sit with probably top 100 minds in the country and talk about this. But if you go to tier 2, tier 3 towns, it's an entirely different story. And maybe a 30-second question to the audience. Do you think as Indians we are bothered about our data privacy? Yes, no? No? Superb. How many no's? So only about 15-20% people say the truth here. I don't think so. You meet any stranger in the flight today, sit with him for 2 hours, you'll draw your entire family tree with him, right? You can travel by train, you'll see that happening. It's our duty to first understand how sorry? Sir, we'll probably come to that towards, yeah, absolutely. Archie, your opening comments, please.
Sure. Thank you. To start with, we are at a convergence point and I would say a tipping point where there is a data explosion happening. The data is everywhere. The data across data lakes and everything. Google being the search engine, collecting data, people's information, all of that. And on the other hand, there is AI, which is all completely working on the platform of data lakes, sourcing data. More the data, better be the trainability. Now, the thin line between this data and AI comes the data privacy. Are we training it with an open data that would bring in bias? And that would again further converge into the biased decision making. If you are building systems, AI systems, applications over a biased data, it's a complete disaster. So here, fundamentally, data privacy is something which would be a paradigm. At this point in time, it's very important to understand the difference between security and privacy for everybody. And from there to take up how security versus privacy of existing data will take the road ahead.
Excellent point. I think, sorry, if everybody sitting in this room is using AI, 90% don't even know how to protect that data while using AI, right? And when we are seeing this, all these trends on social media that are, copying your photograph, old photograph of parents, and the AI generating a colored photograph, all this is your personal information which you are uploading without even understanding what the consequences are. Now, maybe 30-second history. When I started my career, Dr. Pavan Duggal was still a force in the industry 20 years ago. It's my absolute honor to be actually speaking in a conference with him. Sir, your initial thoughts, please.
Thank you. So the other day, this man had a great fight with his wife in the middle of the night and decided that the only way forward is divorce. So he goes to these AI platforms, lists out the weaknesses of his wife, the problems that she does, and then asks advice on how he can get divorced. Next morning, he's up, life is fine, both the husband and wife are together, but there's a problem. All that data about the vulnerabilities, about the bad habits of the wife is now with AI. Now he has a bigger problem. He's dependent. He comes to me. He wants AI to forget what he's told him, obviously. He wants an order which we can't get in the court of law. So if you are not going to be careful, you are going to repent for the rest of your lives. That's a given dictum. In India, there are two sociological phenomena happening which is impacting both data and privacy and security. We are all part of it. We just don't know about it. First, the great Indian vomiting revolution. Indians are vomiting data about their personal, professional, social lives on the internet without thinking of the ramifications. And the second equally important revolution, the great Indian recording revolution. Everybody is recording information. But after that, what? You forget about it. You leave it somewhere. Somebody else accesses it. So today, when I talk about data as the new oil, I'm concerned that people are not dealing with data in terms of protection, privacy, security, trust that it should have. Complicating the scenario is the fact India doesn't have a cybersecurity law in place. India doesn't have a law on privacy in place. Supreme Court in Justice Puttaswamy said, sir, we are all Indians. Everybody has got a fundamental right to privacy as a part of your right to life. However, if a private party entertains or violates your privacy, what do? You have no remedies. You can at best only seek for damages. The only good news that's now coming in is that the government is about to launch and implement the Digital Personal Data Protection Act and rules, which are going to make people like you and me the center of the universe. Why? Till now, our data has been actually stolen, used, misused, abused with gay abandon by all stakeholders. Even when I'm, climbing the stairs for this conference, I'm getting a call from somebody who wants to sell me some apartment in Greater Noida. I'm actually amazed that I'm going to come and speak at this conference on data, and my data gets extensively misused left, right, and center. So in a scenario like this, I think caution is the only mantra. If you think artificial intelligence is your friend, really think again. Why? Because the terms and conditions of all major players, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Grok, Gemini, all have one thing in common. They say, don't share your personal data with me. They further say, what you share, we are going to use it for training our platforms. And that's public data. So you are already cutting your hands, putting it on the table for AI to use. The problem is, once AI learns something about you, it's not going to forget. And it's going to come back and haunt you for the rest of your lives. Why? Because your profile is made. The other day, a new girl came and saw me because she had a problem. There's a new banana trend that's coming. One of the banana programs which allow you to generate any pictures. So she gave her fully clothed picture to the program and said, please generate me in a purple sari with sleeveless blouse. So the program generated her with a sleeveless blouse. The only problem was she was zapped to see that particular picture. Why? Because she had a till here, which was not visible when she had uploaded the clothed picture. But the program, when it generated the sleeveless blouse picture, had the till right there. And she was actually amazed, she was aghast. She said, this is a violation of my privacy. Can I do anything? Unfortunately, we couldn't do anything because, again, no legal frameworks existing in the country. So I think at the time when we are actually walking in the direction of everything AI, everything is the new Jadoo ki Chappi, the AI is my magical answer to everything, please stop, hold back. Why? Things are not stopping here. Next year, we should see AGI coming in. 2027, we will be seeing super intelligence coming in that will be actually superseding the cumulative intelligence of humanity as a whole. Recently in California, a paper has come in, which has actually told us a kind of a scenario that's going to be happening on AI growth. And they say much that we are thinking that this is the world, sorry, it's moving far, far more quickly. And let me share you a small secret. If you think AI is your best friend, think again. You're not alone. 1 in 3 Americans in America who are lonely people are using AI as the best friend. But a bigger problem is that even the current narrow levels of AI is beginning to have a very primitive level of consciousness. Nobody talks about it. People are saying consciousness will come in when AGI comes in, when superintelligence comes in. I said, hold on. Look at the current narrow models, and you can see the beginnings of the nascent evolution of consciousness in AI. Therefore, I think the duty is on us that we will have to be more conscious ourselves. It's better to be safe than sorry. Please imbibe 2 things as I close my comments in the rest of your lives. हम जब छोटे होते थे तो हमारे पेरेंट्स कहते हैं कि दोनों चीज़ मत करना. आज मैं कहता हूँ ये दोनों चीज़ करें. Why? First, be shaki. Learn to be suspicious of everything that you see till such time you've not independently authenticated the veracity or correctness of the same. Number 2, be extremely and extremely conjuice, selfish. Let's not share anything that we have about ourselves to anyone. Only a need-to-know basis has to be only mantra. If your privacy gets violated, don't wait for the law to come and help you. It's going to take you years. You will be disillusioned, man or woman, as you go forward. So, right now, the progressive step is, let's learn to adapt to these new changing ground realities. Let's only try to share on a need-to-know basis. Law is requiring massive push-up. Imagine, India doesn't have a law on artificial intelligence yet. This is at the time when a small country like El Salvador has recently come up with a new law on artificial intelligence. Japan has now come up with a new legal framework on AI. And here we are, the biggest democracy in the world, the most populous nation in the world, and we have not yet made up mind of what we want to do, how we want to do in terms of regulating AI. I close by finally saying that please realize that new concepts are coming in. Started talking of a concept known as artificial intelligence sovereignty. The sovereignty is not just of the sovereign government to have sovereignty over artificial intelligence, whether domestic or foreign, but the sovereignty is even extending to us as individuals. We have a right to cognitive thinking. We do not have a right to walk into the dark of cognitive colonialism. We have a right to ensure that our cognitive faculties do not get invaded, attacked, or prejudicially impacted by use of AI. And all that is still going to boil down to fundamental question, due diligence, care, and caution at our end. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Pavan. I think some extremely important points made. Obviously, the absence of a framework, the absence of a law in our country, and think twice before you share anything. You know, like our parents used to say, go out and play and be very careful whom you talk to. I think it's much more important that we imbibe that in our online culture today, that we first think before we share anything. Thank you, Dr. Pavan. Rajiv, your opening comments, please.
I think if you see data, it even changed the election result in US about 8-9 years back. And the world was pretty surprised that how in 4-5 states they targeted a few individuals and they changed their voting pattern, and that resulted in a change in the last few days of the voting, and the result changed. So I mean, that is the power of data analysis. Even if you feel that Google is collecting all the information and all, you are still giving all that information left, right, and center. You are the product. And if everything is coming free to you, your product details are being captured and given everywhere. So all these big companies, I mean, when they are giving something to you as free, they are capturing your data patterns and everything, and then they are selling off, or they are doing the advertisement, etc. based on that. So nothing comes free. They are just building these data, and the same data will be used in the modeling for AI. And of course, you have already seen many things happening because of data. I can also give an example of a couple living in Noida, and they put it on some sites that they are traveling and all, and they were out for a week and they had a theft in their house. So it all depends what all you want to share or not share. If you are sharing such information, I mean, you are getting open to such frauds and all. And the deep fakes and all those things, I mean, they are going to increase. So be very careful about your data. I would be talking more on the caution around the data which is happening everywhere.
No, I think excellent examples. Unfortunately, I think that is the Facebook login story that you're telling, where people say login into Goa and write that out of station for about a week. Somebody who's socially profiling you will now know that for a week there's nobody there in your house and could lead to theft, right? Rajneesh, your opening comments, please.
Great. Looking at the time counter too. So I would like to just segment the thought and the theme of this panel, which is data being the new currency. It's not new. Earlier we used to call it oil, somebody rightly said. It is currency. Why do we say it is currency? Because data is so insightful. But we have to remember that the data is clean, right? Structured, right data for right people, right? Persona-based data, availability, very key factors. These are the basic pillars. And how this data can further go ahead and be monetized in exchange of a value. Actually, you can generate value out of data, right? And that's what we are doing, right from a stockbroker's thoughts or a mutual fund banks who are doing it for you day in, day out. That is one of the examples. Apart from this, now I'll take a couple of examples from a global view which we bring in our current service industry. I represent the logistics industry. So from there, what we have seen and how it can also act as a threat or a potential hazard even. So just recently, we have had an incident wherein there have been multiple phishing attacks, right? Phishing attacks in real names, with real photographs, with real follow-up voice, follow-up calls on a demand for money. I can quote the generic name of a CFO, for example, right? Or just the position, who is demanding this kind of a thing. Just to authenticate, this person is also literate and is a financial controller himself. So he wants to vet, gives a call back, the person picks and talks to him, and he knows his voice, his photograph is showing, nothing to worry about, right? And it was actually an attack which costed us a lot, for example. The second one can be also on the personal identifiable identity, right? So PII, we call it, used vastly across the financial sectors, but that has come into focus in India only into that sector. But globally again, especially in Europe, I was fortunate enough to be a part of that transition when the European Union was formed. They were talking big on GDPR, right? And now with our own DPDP, we from the industry are having very high hopes and also providing any consulting, any survey thoughts which we can share from our best practices as to how did the European Union go ahead and adhere to these policies, which are very stringent with huge penalties and ensuring that yes, which data is breached. That is very important also to identify what is breached, whether I can notify it to the right forum, will the data privacy platform here in India, which will be formed as part of the DPDP, accept my grievance and go ahead and compensate accordingly. That is another one, PII, GDPR, which was followed, California Act. We have taken quite a few good practices. I've had the opportunity to read the whole DPDP Act, 2023, August 11, I quote. Yeah, that is the act, which will be implemented in this month and soon it seems, fingers crossed. But it will take time. And each of us as conscious citizens are having this onus of going ahead, harnessing it further and making it into a more tangible, measurable manner, right? Apart from this, a very recent one, an industry example I would quote, very recent again, the way it can fake you, this kind of a data through AI. AI, with the emergence of AI, is also having tools to breach the data, right, specifically. They go inside and create a fake profile. In a video interview case, which I wanted to quote, you are seeing the candidate, he is the candidate, right? And he's talking to you, answering you perfectly by the T, right? And you naturally go ahead and select him in each of the rounds. So management rounds, technical rounds, from my industry, technical rounds is important. And then the managerial also aspects, soft skill aspects. All of them, the candidate has cleared. When we hire the candidate on the ground, we see that it's not even, 1/10 of what the person looked like. So that's a hazard. That's a hazard. Now with this control coming in, right, how do we go ahead and encrypt algorithmically? There are also consent management platforms. There are privacy enhancement platforms which are coming into flow. So in the future, there would be radical movement with what Mr. Duggal was also mentioning, a radical movement towards edge edge platforms, right? And they will be more exposed because, it would be data being brought to the people and vice versa.
Yeah, plus if you compound the entire piece around variable computing that everybody is talking about, or quantum, we don't even know what quantum will do to the way we work.
Yeah.
Right? And the kind of data that it can process in seconds, it is going to be a whole different animal that nobody is today talking about. Right? Like you said, super intelligence, super computing, once it becomes common, and especially some of our friendly neighbors, they are experts in bringing down the cost of technology. Nobody thought that DeepSeek and AI could be made at 1/100th the cost of other open LLMs, right? And how does it compound? With that, coming to you, Anand, the topic, as I said, data is the new currency, right? So, how do organizations balance the right for privacy that an individual does, but till now everybody's been speaking about, don't do this, don't do this. We can't shut down organizations. Organizations have to work. Government has to do its duty. It has to give us facilities like Digi Yatra. How do you think, where is the right balance going to come from?
Yeah, good question. So I think first is that, till we have this formally the act is legislated and come in force, I don't know, we have been waiting for years and
28th is
probably.
Yeah.
Then it has to be passed in the parliament, and then some other will come, opposition will say, no, this thing, that thing, all that thing. I don't know when this will actually see the light of the day. But having said that, I think we have taken a step, at least. Now everybody is talking about it. At least organizations are talking about it. Organizations started looking at it, yet if it comes up, because, fact is that we Indians only work unless and until there is a penalty. So government has also ensured that there is a significant amount of penalty put into it. So organizations have started working on taking some baby steps. For example, just give an example is that when an employee joins, or if you look at any website today, they said, I consent to give the data which is to be used, blah, blah, blah. So because consent management is a very critical part of this thing. So coming back to your question, Jaspreet, is that I think first and foremost is that privacy by design. That is absolutely critical part of it. Why do I need data? For what purpose I need data? Should be, see today in the systems, while it has been mandated, but we just store Aadhaar number as it is, everything is stored. Anybody can look into everything. Privacy by design is first fundamental thing, that is the first thing.
Which was earlier security by design.
Yeah, now it is a privacy by design.
Also data minimization, like he was mentioning.
Yeah.
It has to do a lot with anonymization and also minimization, right?
Yeah. So then comes the transparency. Now, I need to, I should know that if I'm giving my data, if I give my PAN card, Aadhaar card, or whatever it is, for what purpose I am giving, for how long it is to be used, and when can I withdraw the consent for which purpose I have given. That is the second point I want to grow. The third important point is the security point of it. Now, data has to be secure, it has to be anonymized, as rightly said, so that unless and until I have a data which is trained, organization cannot create. So let's look at this Amazons of the world. How did, when I log in next time to Amazon, it just give me that, sir, you were searching something. Do you want to look into, or you went but you did not buy. So it's a recommendation which is using the data. But it has to be anonymized so that it is used for the purpose of growth. And it as an individual, it saves my time. Maybe I was in a hurry, I just left that, but when next time I log into Amazon, starts me from there. So it helps me from that personalization, it saves my time, and it helps in terms from the growth perspective also. I think there's a certain thing which I want to talk about from that perspective.
Perfect. Archie, you've been, dabbling with AI for quite some time now, right? And when I add AI in the context of privacy and security, it becomes a very, very deadly combination. How do you think should organizations, again, we spoke about individuals, but from an organization perspective, what are some of the things that organizations should keep in mind when dabbling with AI from a security, from a privacy, and overall from a law perspective also?
Thanks. In fact, before we talk about organization and AI and privacy, let me first talk about the group that answered about they said no for privacy. But let's say all the spear phishing emails that you get, that is a result of the information that you have fed. And since this being more towards the financial audience, there are, all the spear phishing emails that you are getting, those are either trying to get the next layer of authentication to get into your system, or getting more information to actually exploit any information to take it further and capture the data. It's all about data. Coming to AI, at this point in time, the explosion of the GPT engines is overwhelming. And the speed with which we are trying to secure as well as make sure the data and the processing is all secure and under compliance, that is on the, I would say, sideline. Even if we talk about the act and compliances, data privacy, the consent management, asking for consent, that has been adopted quite well. But what if I want to revoke any of my consent that has been there somewhere in my database? I put in the form, collect information. There is also a very important caveat that if I at any point in time want to revoke that information, there should be a reversal mechanism. How many of us or anybody who is collecting data is thinking on that particular same line? Now, if we talk about AI and adoption within the organization, the very first thing, the fundamental point, is about having an AI policy. As simple as that. Because it's all about the awareness of people understanding what AI can bring in. Because it's all overwhelming, getting a lot of information. It's just a glorified search engine extracting information from high sources, data lakes. Now, when I have the specific policy, the technology integration, which will secure my data from going out, how many of, it's a step ahead in the LLM and SLM segments, but what if my data, the data of my organization, if I'm developing any B2B payment gateway from let's say, a B2B or B2C payment gateway, as simple as that. Those APIs and all of those codes that are being there, are those in the public GPT or under the secure GPT? Because when you are sourcing the information from the basic fundamental glorified search engine, which is ChatGPT and all, whatever, it's learning from them. Tomorrow you can even, if it is open space, the other competitors or all of that, they could find the prompt injection. Prompt injection is the very basic, fundamental exploitation of AI engines. So the layer of technology, securing it, that's secondary, but at least from privacy perspective, having the policy is from where we start with. Awareness of people to how to use efficient usage of AI and taking it further.
Perfect. Thank you. Dr. Pavan, I'll just come to you in 2 minutes, for a wider question. Just taking on that where Archie led off. Rajiv, how important or what are the barriers today organizations are facing in implementing security given today's borderless world that we are living in?
So, as far as AI was concerned, it is very simple. You roll out a policy, you make sure every employee is signing it that they are not misusing it, and then you...
Rolling out a policy is like, rolling out a traffic rule, saying nobody will cross a red light. That's why I'm saying you then take an approval from all employees that they are not going to misuse it, and then you set up alerts in the system that if they're misusing it, you come to know about that. Sure.
As far as, what was your other question?
Security in the digital
in the digital, okay. So nowadays, the major problem is you are getting connectivity from heterogeneous areas. So, and like you have various clients, various suppliers, everyone accessing your systems from various devices and all. So XDR and all, I mean, those are very important. And then you have to make sure that if there is any suspicious traffic, you have zero trust set up, you have data leakage prevention, all those things set up, because insider threats have increased because of these heterogeneous exploitations as well as access. And I mean, it is going to keep on growing. You can access from your mobile phone, you can access from your laptop, you can even do a virtual desktop and all, and you can access from there. So I mean, the point of inflictions have increased tremendously, and companies have to be more and more careful about the security nowadays.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Rajneesh, you spoke about incident response, right? There are two schools of thought that we end up dealing with. One is there are guidelines around incident reporting, whether it's certain, whether it's RBI, etc. Should I report, not report? You know, does this qualify to become an incident? Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I'll go back a bit here.
Yeah.
Just like one of the gentlemen here, sitting here with a nice hat, mentioned that, you know, we are talkative. We indulge a lot into banter, light banter, probably sharing our own personal and private identified, you know, information. So how do we go about that? So now DPDP, when this act comes, right, like the other mature acts globally, especially in Europe and US, UK, I can say, they have matured. How did they mature? By also ensuring that, you know, you are conscious about what you have shared, and anybody knowingly, if uses in a print or non-print manner, can be, you know, sued for, taken to the courts, like we say. So how do we do that? Naturally, it is through creating the awareness. Awareness will come from where? Like AI, everybody knows about AI. Data, like nobody gives, not majority of the people don't give any focus, right? Or security, nobody gives a focus. So what to penalize and how to penalize, there will be guidelines, and you will feel confident one day, sir, that yes, this is where I have been breached. My PII, personal identifiable information, has been breached. And you can go and approach the right forum to the platform, which is the data privacy platform coming through the DPDP Act, and the action will be taken.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Dr. Pavan, you know, two questions and basically a summation of what all we've discussed till now from a closing remarks perspective. One is DPDPA, amazing, well drafted, coming in soon types, you know. Everybody's seen enough trailers. Now I think it's time to see the movie. With whatever is happening in the technology world, how will the laws of privacy change with IoTs, 5Gs, wearable computing? Number one, are the current laws enough? If not, how do you see those changing over a period of time?
Thanks. I believe current laws are completely inadequate.
Are completely?
Inadequate.
Inadequate, yeah.
To deal with the issues of emerging technologies. We haven't even doing our basic homework on privacy. I mean, it's now 8 years since Justice Puttaswamy judgment came across, saying that we have a right to privacy as a fundamental right, but we still don't have a accompanying legislation which can actually provide effective remedies to affected persons. Today, if you violate my privacy, I have no remedy, barring just going ahead and filing for some damages, and I don't know when I will get those damages. Yes, if you capture the private parts of my body without my consent, yes, that becomes an offense under Section 66E of the IT Act. But then what about algorithms? They are quietly using, collecting, assessing, assembling, and processing data. So it's good to say the DPDP Act is coming. But the fundamental question is, sher aaya, kab tak sher aaya? I mean, for the last, it's August 2023, the Parliament passed the law. Last 2.5 years almost, it's not yet been implemented. We are waiting for the draft rules. If the rules come into force, if the law comes into force, then it could be a game changer. But I use the word if. Why? Because if you violate this law, your minimum fine will be 50 crore rupees for one contravention. Your maximum fine will be 250 crore rupees for one transaction, for one violation. You do n number of violations, please multiply into n numbers to get a potential exposure. Does that mean everybody will be fined? No, I don't think everybody will be fined. Does that mean a complaint will be filed against you? The answer is a crystal clear yes. As a lawyer, I'm beginning to see a tsunami on the horizon. The moment the DPDP Act comes in, every company is going to find that there'll be some complaint against the company. And it's as simple as filing the complaint and having a cup of coffee. Why? Because you can only go to the online portal of the Data Protection Board and file it. Now the beauty, or shall I say the complexity, is that once the board comes to the conclusion that you have violated the law, then its hands are tied. It has no discretion. The minimum fine it has to give has to be 50 crore rupees. Cannot be below 50 crore rupees. Yes, it has a discretion from 50 crore rupees to 250 crore rupees. Okay, now, we are Indians, we love the Indian Jugaad school of management. We say, boss, jo fine karna hai kar lo, I don't have any money. Mera kya ukhadoge? Right, that approach. But the law says, hold on, I am anticipating that argument. So I'm saying this money is not going to go to the complainant. This money will go to the government of India in the form of payment to Consolidated Fund of India. You don't pay the government, no problem. The law considers this as arrears of land revenue, which means that the government will have the right to go ahead and attach your assets, sell your assets of the company. And if you're the top management, by virtue of Section 85 of the IT Act, your assets and your properties could also be attached, and the same could also be sold towards the fulfillment of the fine. So I think once this comes up, it could be a game-changing scenario. But I believe that the Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023 is already obsolete when I talked this morning. It's not yet come into operation, and it requires amendment as of this morning. Why? Because it does not deal with one fundamental element in our lives, AI. What happens if AI violates my personal data? The problem is, I see different laws in the world on AI, European Union, China, El Salvador, Japan.
US.
They're all going round and round in circles. Nobody is addressing the elephant in the room. The elephant is, should we grant legal recognition to artificial intelligence as a legal entity? If you say yes, then things get sorted out. If you say no, you are still going round and round in jalebi circles. Why? Because you're wanting to make the coders responsible. But the coders are saying, hey guys, I don't know. I have just created this algorithm. I don't know how it works. And now with a recent trend of AI going rogue, AI being intimidating. Imagine AI telling an AI coder that you cannot talk rudely to me because if you do that, I will give information about your affairs with this woman to the entire contacts in your contact list. Now, at the time when AI has become intimidating, is beginning to go rogue, the chances of AI misusing your personal data left, right and center are very much here. So without even addressing the issue of violation of personal data by AI and by algorithms, I think it's a different ballgame altogether. And mind you, IoTs have not even begun to be recognized in the country. I mean, people in India are so naive. You get an Alexa or an Echo and you put it where? In your bedroom, of all the places where you're having your most serious, most private conversations. And you don't realize that what you talk is being heard, is being recorded, processed somewhere else. And you have no expectation of privacy. So I think current laws are inadequate. We need to have a more holistic ground reality realization that privacy is an evaporating concept. We don't have much privacy, personal privacy or data privacy left. Therefore, whatever limited that we have left, let's catch it by both the hands. Why? If we don't do that, my subsequent generation is going to blame me. Guys, what were you doing? Yes, we were mad. We were enamored by AI. We didn't know what to do. But what were you doing? Why did you not stop us? Why did you not take appropriate steps? So in this scenario, I think the onus will come back upon the individual. Please realize at the end of the day, you are all at the center of the digital Kurukshetra warfield. You are being attacked, targeted from 360 degrees. For what? Your data. Why? Because you have become a data entity. You are generating data on a 24/7 basis. And if you do not have a Suraksha Kavach in the form of appropriate compliances, in the form of appropriate due diligence, care and caution, I think you're going to repent for a lifetime. And this lifetime is coming very soon, in the next 2-3 years. Imagine super intelligence coming in 2 years' time. When it's going to be more intelligent than humanity as a race, what about your and my privacy? It's not even an item on the table to consider. Now, in the next few years, the beginning issue will be, is an existential threat of artificial intelligence to humanity. So I think we need to look at bigger questions. But as humans, let's learn to protect whatever limited that we have on privacy. Don't wait for a new law on artificial intelligence, a new law on cybersecurity, a new law on privacy to come in. We begin from internal. Let's internalize. Let's try to see what can I protect about me, my family, my organization, and take baby steps moving forward. Otherwise, if we are waking a bit too late, it's already too late in the game. You already would have surrendered. You have cut both your hands and legs on the table, given it to AI for serving for dinner. So the choice is yours, what you really want to do. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I think it was probably one of the best panel discussions that I've been to. Please give a huge round to my fellow panelists.